Yep, still raining. No tornadoes today though, so that's good. But anyway, it's Saturday. Well, it's about 10 or something like that, 10 in the morning, somewhere around there. Still got some coffee going. A little scoop of chocolate chip cookie dough. My daughter Emily is making, she's baking for a friend of ours, is doing a multiple sclerosis fundraiser at their house tonight, a bake sale and stuff like that. So like I said before, believe it or not, I really like to bake, so I made some stuff last night. Emily's making some stuff today, so we'll have a whole bunch of stuff to take over to their house tonight. I'm not going because I got to go to work tonight, but they're taking it all over there to auction it off for that fundraiser, which is pretty cool, I think. But anyway, back to what we got going on here. Picked up some DOM for my panhard bar or track bar, so whichever term you prefer. It's going to go from here to here. It's going to be considerably longer than the one I originally had, which is definitely a good thing. So for that, I went and picked up some 3/16 plate, or strap, I guess they call it. But picked that up yesterday. A big chunk of that for multiple uses. That stuff's good to have. Then I got the DOM yesterday, and then I went and got some more primer, some more epoxy. Went to the paint shop. I got that yesterday, so got all that stuff going on. There's my other, oops, there's my other heim joint. So I'll put this over here so I don't lose it. But this is the length. This is the length of the one, for you guys that have been watching, the one I had that was going to go to the middle of my differential. The new one, just this piece, just the bar should be as long as this is from end to end. So that'll be good. And what I'm going to do is, let me sit here so I can hold the camera a little steadier. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to build a bracket that bolts to my differential. So I'll get at least 3 bolts, if not 4 bolts, that'll hold that onto here. So I'll cut that out. So, oops, I'm zooming in on accident here. So that's actually ones that you could buy are like that, but they're all for 4 9-inches, and I don't have a 9-inch in this. This is a Dana 44. So it'll bolt there, then the panhard bar will bolt to it. So it should be somewhere around in here maybe, and then it'll go across to here. What I'm going to do with that 3/16, I'm going to cut out basically a gusset that's going to go right here, and it's going to weld all along the top here at the 45 here, and then all along here, and then probably some right along this seam also. Then it'll have my holes in it for my panhard bar that'll go across to here. So it'll be it should be plenty strong. It's stronger than the original plan I had, so that's a good idea. This was actually the very first plan I had, but I wasn't going to be able to do it without lifting my bed. And now that I'm lifting my bed, I can go ahead and go with this. Some of the ones I've been looking up go across right on top of the differential across to here, but that's where I'm putting my airbags. The guys that do that usually have something going on with the airbags in the back, or the airbags there, or something along those lines. But since we're not doing that style, we'll just put it right in that area there, and it should be plenty good enough. But anyway, I'm gonna get to work. I'm gonna at least cut all this stuff out. I don't have a welder right now, so I'm gonna at least get stuff cut out, mocked up, trimmed up, so it's ready to put in as soon as I can get a welder back, and then we'll go from there. So when I get something done, I'll bring you guys back. Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. Alright guys, I just thought I'd show you something I do real quick, because sometimes I'm not messing with a full plate of steel. Sometimes I'm using something out of my scrap bucket or my scrap pile. So when I'm making something, what I'll do is I'll take cardboard and I'll put whatever piece of metal I have over it, and then I'll trace it. So the cardboard, sounds like somebody might be here. I'll be back. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, I cut out a piece that basically of what size of metal I have to work with. Then I could take my cardboard and take it over to whatever I'm working on, and I can figure out how I can use that metal the best. Because, you know, metal's not cheap. It's not real expensive, but it's not cheap either. I mean, I can't afford to waste any. So that's what I do. I mean, I'm sure somebody else out there does it. I'm not even at amateur status yet, but I thought I would. Sorry about that, interrupted again. Took the diff cover, held it on here, moved the diff cover and this around till I found the best, basically the best way for it to fit, where the holes weren't too close to the edge or anything. This is the outside of the diff cover, so I will actually be able to cut this down to fit that, and then we'll go out. This is where my panhard bar will mount, somewhere over here. It may even be extended further. It may have to be a little bit shorter. I don't know. I haven't actually taken it over to the truck yet. So then I just used this, the compass, and measured from the outside to where the bump in the diff cover is, and marked all those spots around here. Now I'll take a couple more measurements. I think it's pretty consistent. If it is, then I'll just measure it. Then I'll draw my line there, and I'll cut this inside portion out, put it over this, and just trim it till it fits nice. Then I'll drill these holes out basically, and I'll bolt the cardboard and the diff cover to the differential, and then we'll be able to go from there to figure out where that works out. But anyway, here's the cookies my daughter made. Pretty cool. And she's going to put a little bit of frosting on top of them, but they're chocolate chip cookies in a in a mini cupcake pan. Then this is a 375 H&H. That'll shoot a hunk of lead. I don't know if I have anything to compare it to. This one's dirty. I'm not exactly sure where it came from. Let's see. I think there's another big, yeah, there's another big bore round. It's 4570. There you go. Yeah. Not even exactly sure why I have these out in the garage. Wonder how much these cost a piece now. It's not my rifle, it's my dad's. He's had one for a very long time. He really likes the 375 H&H for, that's his round. But shoot a 300 grain, the same trajectory as a 30-06 will shoot a 150 grain bullet. Well, it's kind of cool to do some really long shots with it, I'll say that. Anyway, enough on that stuff. Back to work. I can't even remember why that was over here, but I must have had it over here for some reason. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. Then I'm gonna eat my cookie. Then I'm gonna drink some water, and then I'll bring you guys back, show you what I got. So there we go. We got it cut out around the diff cover in the differential. This will trim because let me turn this around real quick. I read an article, kind of kneeling down here. I read an article in a magazine. I don't remember which magazine it was, but they had a pretty cool article on holes in metal, in sheet metal, and they had the Air Force's standards for it because, you know, they're drilling holes in sheet metal for a plane that's got to hold together. But what it said, and I'm sure there's a machinist way to do it and in other assorted ways, but the way they do it is, however big your hole is, the edge of the hole has got to be half the diameter from the edge. So if you're going to drill a 3/8 hole, the edge of that 3/8 hole has got to be at least 3/16 from the edge of the metal that you're doing, and that's for sheet metal, and that's to stop the hole from tearing out. So that's for sheet metal. I'm not using sheet metal obviously here. I'm using 3/16 plate, but I figure that's still a good rule of thumb. So these holes are 5/16. I put the holes in the cardboard with a drill bit. I just spun it by hand. I didn't use my drill or anything like that. Just spun it till it got close, pushed it through and cleaned them up. Anyway, these are 5/16 holes, so the minimum that I need to go out towards the edge would be 5/32. So let's see, what would 6/32 would be 3/16. So we'll go out at least 3/16 from here, which will probably put us just past the edge of the differential cover. And then I'll trim this up. I'll probably trim it like this, come around, and then this line will probably continue going up. And then this will kind of stay big so I have room for my panhard bar. Over here, it's gonna have to come in because my airbag goes right here, so it's not gonna fit next to it here. I'll probably clamp my airbag on to see how far I gotta go, because I do not want the edge of this metal catching my airbag and ripping it. That's not a problem. I got plenty of room. It's probably, if I take it to about here, it will always clear the airbag, and that's what I want. And then I'll probably round off this corner, and then I'll have from here all the way across to here for my panhard bar, which is, it's a pretty good distance. I'm not, that's just to locate the differential in there, and I'm not worried about getting a ton of motion. The more motion I could get, the better. The longer panhard bar I could get, the better. So I'm not, I'm gonna try and get it as long as possible, but this isn't a race truck, so it's a cruiser. Low and slow is the way we're gonna roll with this. If I wanna go fast, I got a motorcycle for that. But, so that's what we're gonna do with this. I'm gonna start working on that. I have some PVC. I have a chunk of it around here somewhere that I cut out. Yeah, there it is on the floor. So that's some PVC, this little piece of pipe that I'm kind of using as a gauge to see how I can make it work. So we'll hang on to that because we're going to use that again. All right, so I screwed up a little bit. What I did was, I cut this piece out, like I said earlier, the size of the metal I'm going to be using. Then I used the scrap to make my template. Usually I mark scrap or use this piece or something like that, but I forgot to this time. But this time it's not a big deal. This is just another example why it's really good to use cardboard. So you can see I got about an inch that didn't match. So what I'm gonna do is I'll take this over like this, maybe somewhere around in there. I'll cut this piece out, I'll tape it to this piece, then I'll trim that same line that I got going there on this, then this piece will now be the size that I need it to be. It's not that big a deal, but I just thought I'd show you guys one of my screw ups. I got this piece taped on. This is the same size as this. I just cut it so it's right here, because what I plan on doing is I'm going to cut out some of that 3/16 this size. That will follow this line. You can see I have this gap here. This will get cut out to about here. So I'll have a piece of metal in here, a triangle, a gusset that follows this line up to here, and then it'll come out at a slight angle to this point right around in here. Then this will get cut out, recessed. I'll trim this out till it fits nice, and then it'll get welded all along the top here, all along the bottom here, and then on the back side here. That will get rid of this gap. I think it'll make it look, it'll look better, more pleasing to the eye, you could say, and it will make it stronger as well, so look better and stronger is always good. Anyway, so this is where my panhard bar will bolt to for the frame, probably right there in the middle. Then it'll go across to here. Yeah, that's about all I got for right now. Once I got a little more done, I'll bring you guys back. All right, so I got the airbag in. I took the weight of the frame is pretty much on it right now. I got it compressed. You see I got a good amount of clearance there. May shave that off just a little bit more, but I think I'm going to use this for now. Sure as everybody knows, it's always good to cut your templates big and trim them to fit. So I probably didn't actually need that inch that I added, because that takes it up above the cross member. So we are actually looking pretty darn good. This is a little low, so where's my you know, this is maybe resting height, I guess you could say. After doing this, I think I might flip those brackets over so the airbag goes up inside of it. If I do that, I got to do a little bit of trimming, but that's okay. You know, I've said it before, trimming's easy. So if that's the case, no problem. We'll do a little bit of trimming on the cross members, a little bit of trimming of the airbag bracket. Not much. You can just see how when the air is out of the bag, it kind of bellows out. So, and I don't want to rip those. So we might do that. Then when I let all the air out of the airbags to let the truck down, the airbags aren't sitting like that. I'll let air out until the truck gets on the bump stops, and then that's it. The airbags will still be inflated a little bit. I think that's, from what I've read, that's a better way to go. So I think we might do that. I thought about it before, but I think it's a done deal now. So that'll give me in the future a little more to work with. It's either that or ditch those entirely and make a plate that that goes across right here on the top for them. But I think I'm still going to stick with these. I don't know. That's going to take a little more thinking. But oh, and the cookie was delicious, in case anybody's curious. I'm glad she didn't bring me out 10 of them, because I would have ate them all. But anyway, so the panhard bar is pretty close. Grab my little mock-up tube here. That's kind of what we're looking at right there. It clears the differential cover by plenty. It clears the cross member by plenty. So it should actually be up like this right now. Then when it's at ride height, it'll be closer to level. You know, I've read different reviews, whether it's got to be perfectly level or whether it's got a little bit of angle in it. Once again, this isn't a race truck, so I don't think it has to be perfect on this. It's going to be pretty darn close to level, I'll say that, but put that there so I'm not shaking you guys around. But anyway, those are pretty much set. Those are ready to get transferred to some steel and cut out. I might see when my wife gets home what time it is, see if I got a time to run over to my pop's house and use his plasma cutter to cut them out before Katie's game at 3 o'clock. All right, so the panhard bar bracket's gonna work pretty good. So what I'm doing now is turning my radio down. You see I've notched out my cross member. This dude's gonna go in there like that. I need to, it's not quite there yet. I gotta take off a little more material here, and I gotta take some off on this underside here, and probably a little bit more up here until it fits. You see what I'm kind of going for here. That's not the right way. There we go. I put a D for driver's side, so I know which way it goes. You see I'm getting close. So that's what that'll be like once it's done. And then, yeah, that's gonna work out good. That's gonna add a lot of strength. Welded the top and back side of this so far. I'm gonna even run a bead on the inside here. I could see by the color in there, I got good penetration. It's hard to see out of light in there earlier. But I gotta weld this underside here. And then this will get welded across the top, down the side, all the way down this side, and on the back side where it contacts across here. So these will be plenty of strong, and then there'll be the same gussets up in the front also. I don't think anything will attach to those except for those may be a possible shock mount. We'll see. I still got to figure out my shock mounts, but I'm trying to get this stuff done first, and then we'll move on to our shock mounts. But anyway, back to work. All right, guys, got my That's what I was looking for right there. So it'll get burned in all the way down this, all the way across here, down here as far as I can, and then I kind of messed up on the underside. I didn't need to cut it out, I just needed to clearance it, so that's alright. I'll have to make a, I'm not going to crawl under there with the camera, it's kind of hard to, because I need to hold a light and lay in a bunch of dust, metal dust. I don't really want to do that right now. Sorry about that, but I'll have to make a small little filler patch for underneath and weld that in. So this is going to work. I like this. Let's see the, there you go. You can see the back side of it. So that'll all be welded in and then ground smooth. And then one will be here. Then there'll be one on each side in the front also. But this thing will be plenty strong. So I'm going to try and get that other side done today. I don't know if I'll be able to get all of them done today, but I'm going to get that other one done right now. And then some lunch will be ready here in a minute. I need some lunch. And then my next thing to decide is what I want to do with this. I've had a couple suggestions. I just don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. Andy's, my brother, Dirtball's going to come over and give me a hand putting my tranny in. Probably Monday maybe. We'll toss that in and I'll put the drive shaft back in. Once I do that, I'll figure out where I need to put that. And then I'll build my tower. I got a couple ideas of what I want to do. So I want to do something that looks nice. That's kind of my goal. And I looked for some pipe that was big enough to make a nice round thing, but as many of us have found out, your drive shaft isn't always dead in the middle. So I'd need a huge pipe to take it up, and that's not going to work. So I'm just going to build a little bridge out of that 3/16 plate, I think. And I think we'll do that. So anyway, back to work. All right. I thought I'd show you guys some of the stuff we baked real quick. Sugar cookies. I didn't do the packaging. Sugar cookies, that's buttercream frosting that I made. Then we got one of my favorites, the knit and chocolate bark. This stuff is so good, especially with coffee. We got a couple bags of that. And then these are the chocolate chip cookies like I ate earlier. Anyway, I said they're going to do, it's a fundraiser for multiple sclerosis they're doing a bake sale for, so this is what we're sending over, but just thought I'd show you guys real quick.